In this tutorial, we're going to show you how to set up mobile controls for your game in Unity.
So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to the Unity Asset Store and we're going to download Touch Controls Kit Lite. And once you've done that, you can go to Window, Package Manager, and you can just search Touch Controls Kit Lite. Go ahead and import that. All right, once you got that imported, go to the drop-down folders and content, go to the first person example. Open up that scene and hit play. But you'll notice if we use the computer, whenever we drag, it goes all over the place.
So we're going to be switching our target platform to mobile.
To do that, go to Build Settings, and then instead of having it on PC, Linux, and Standalone, just put it under Android or iOS if that's what you're using.
And then at the bottom left, click Switch Platform.
And if you don't have this, you're going to have to download it.
And then we're going to go to Project Settings, go to Editor, and under Device, for our case, we're going to say any Android device. In order to test your game on your phone, you're going to need to download the Unity Remote app, and you're going to need to set your phone to debug mode. I'll leave a link in the description on how to do that. Once you have your phone set up and plugged into your computer, just go ahead and hit play. Alright, as you can see, everything works the way that it should. Now first, I'm going to show you guys how to rip this controller and put it into your own scene, because this guy doesn't actually have a prefab for everything here. And then I'll show you how to set one up for yourself from scratch. All you need to do is drag and drop the event system into the TCK canvas and put it into the prefabs folder. And then you can go into your own scene and drag and drop in the player asset as well as the TCK canvas. And right off the bat, everything works and is ready for your game, besides the fact that you probably don't want these dotted lines everywhere. So let's get rid of those. So go into TCK canvas and then go to the touchpad, and you'll see that the grid is actually an image component. And you might think that you can just turn it off or drop the alpha, but you're going to have to go into the TCK touchpad script in order to do that. But first, this grid actually represents the entire area in which the player can use the touchpad, so we're going to go ahead and increase that. And once you're done with that, now we can go back to the TCK touchpad component, and then we'll drop the alpha down. Going to the joystick, we'll see a similar component called TCK joystick. Open up the parameters and drop the alpha of the touch zone, not the joystick or the background. Alright, and there you'll see that this controller works perfectly. You can move around, you can jump, and you can use the little shooting ball thing. The next thing that we're going to do is make our own mobile controller using this asset. I'm going to use my go-to controller, which is the mini first-person controller. And for the sake of this tutorial, I would suggest that you do the same. Once you have that imported into your project, go ahead and delete the previous player and leave the TCK canvas. And then we're going to go ahead and drop in our first-person controller. Once it's in your scene, let's go ahead and start simple, and we're going to open up this jump component that's on this character.
Once you have jump opened up in Visual Studio, you'll see that we have a nice little code here, and it's going to say if input.getButtonDown jump and ground check is grounded, and then it's going to cause this player to jump. There's a bunch of other stuff that this guy did that's pretty cool, but we're not going to get into that. Okay, so what we're going to do to edit this is instead of just saying using Unity Engine, we're going to say using Touch Controls Kit. Once you've done that, we're going to quickly comment out this bit of code, copy that, paste it above, and instead of saying if input.getButtonDown jump, we're going to say if TCK input.getAction quotations jump button, comma eAction event dot down. And then we'll leave the rest of the code as is. So let's go ahead and test that out. And there you go. You'll see that when I click this button, and you can't see the input on the screen, you can kind of see me messing around, but the jump button works perfectly. Now let's go ahead and do that for the rest of the character controller. So now we've done jump, and we're going to want to do, instead of doing crouch, we're just going to get rid of crouch, actually. We're going to do the first person movement. And you'll see if input.getAxis horizontal, target moving speed, input.getAxis vertical. All right. So this is the only spot where that's at. So once again, we're going to comment this out for now. And copy and paste that. And instead of vector2 is input.getAxis horizontal, we're going to delete this. And it's going to be we're going to go up to the top again. We're going to say using touch controls. And once again, it's going to be tck input.get axis joystick e-axis type dot horizontal. And then we're going to copy and paste this over here. And instead of the axis type being horizontal, it's going to be vertical. All right, so let's go ahead and test this out. Before we continue on this, you're going to see that there's a bit of a problem. And this will happen with a lot of the controllers that you try to input.
The reason this isn't working is because this asset uses your touch input as a cursor. So if you go into your first-person character and look at the camera and open up the look script,
it's actually locking the cursor to the center, and we can't have that for a mobile game, especially since there won't be a cursor anyway. So go ahead and comment that out, and whatever controller you decide to use, make sure that you get rid of the cursor lock state. Let's go back in and try to test this again. And now we can move around, we can jump, we just can't look anywhere. And that'll be the last thing that we're going to fix. Let's go ahead and open that up in Visual Studio. All right, so the first person look is controlled by getAxis raw mouse X. But we're going to say vector2 look equals, and then keep forgetting, go up to the top, make sure you're using touch in controls kit, equals tck input dot get axis, and it's just going to say touchpad. All right, now instead of mouse X and mouse Y, it's just going to be look X and look Y. And then there you go. So save that and let's go test this out. And now we can look around. Now you might feel like the looking is a little too slow for you. So let's go fix that. Instead of just look X and looks Y, just because we can't use getAxis raw, which is how this normally works, we're going to multiply both of these by 10. Let's test that out. All right, there you go. Now it can look super fast. You can reduce or increase that number or set it to a public variable so that you can change it as you go, or the player can change it.
the last thing to note is that you can actually change the name of these buttons inside of the inspector and subsequently change the name in your scripts, and you can add as many of them or as few of them as you want. And what's cool about that is this will now work with almost any tutorial you'll find on YouTube, including a lot of my own. For instance, if you're using our flashlight tutorial, after you're finished following this one, all you have to do is go to the top of the flashlight script and say using touch controls kit, and then go down to the if statement, and instead of saying if input.get key down key code F, say if tck input.get action A button, or if you didn't change it, then jump button or whatever you want to use, e action event dot down, and then leave the rest of the code as is. Now this will also work with our interaction tutorial. Once again, if you follow this tutorial first and then that one, all you would have to do is go to the top of the interactor script and say using touch controls kit, go down to the if input statement and change that to if tck input dot get action parentheses, let's just use A button, B button, or whatever button you decide, and then e action event dot down. That's it for this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comment section. We try to answer as many as possible, and we'll see you next time.